is Dr. Neetha Bhushan, and so just a little bit about me. I'm the CEO of Global Grit Institute, and we run emotional confidence accelerators for top-level executive CEOs and businesses trying to find and shape their thinking globally. And I did that for a little bit in Silicon Valley as well, and now I am kind of based on in different parts of the world. And so I'm really excited to be here. And I'm sorry, what was your name? Yeah, oh, you can, sure.
Hello, good afternoon, all of you. A very warm welcome to Women Economic Forum. Today's we have three delegates. First is Neetha Bhushan ma'am, Neha Haridas ma'am, then Ananya Parekh ma'am. Neetha Bhushan, she is President and Chief Experience Officer, neethabhushan.com from USA. Welcome ma'am. Nina Haridas, she is journalist from India. Welcome ma'am. Then Ananya Parekh, co-founder of the Inner Goddess Academy from India. Welcome ma'am. So it will be very nice session from these three guests. So you can start.
So we won't use the mic, if that's cool. Okay, awesome. All right, so to get started with a super hot topic, and with these lovely co-founders, I just had the amazing experience to listen to their journey. And so this is really about, okay, this is really about all of you, and the way that this is for all of you. Great. And so the way that we so think of this as a mini workshop today. So as we get into this, what does identity mean to each of you? If we can take perhaps maybe the first 5 minutes and go around. We are at this forum, and it's the Women Economic Forum, and we have all of the different identities that we wear on a daily basis, whether it's in our communities, whether it's in our companies, whether it's in our families, whether it's the identities that culturally we have for whatever reason, and that adds on to the accolades. So if we can actually have a little bit more of an intimate setting, I'd love to hear, perhaps maybe we can go around and just, if you guys can kind of explore some of the nuances of what identity has looked like in your lives up until this point, because it's a very interesting topic, and especially now that we have two amazing co-founders and entrepreneurs, and we're now in this different, and we have different stages of our lives where we enter motherhood, we enter the corporate world, we enter marriage, and so on and so forth. And so what does that look like? How has that shaped all of you? And what I'm encouraging you all to do is whatever identity that you actually had before coming into this room, to actually leave that aside. Because we don't actually get to do that on a daily basis. You don't actually get to see some of the different parts of you. And so for the next hour, I ask you to think from a different framework, just a different perspective. And perhaps by the end of this session, we can come out with this with a different understanding, more compassion, more self-compassion, and more empathy on how we view the world with different identities. So perhaps we can kind of start, maybe in the back, what has been, or anybody can shout out, what has been some of the identities that we actually face now in society? And I'm going to perhaps maybe sit love that because this is a dialogue and this is what I love. And so you're right. So there are different aspects of identity. This could be in career. This could be personal. This could be, in the kitchen, right? And so what about on this side? We're gonna say something.
There is roles that to perform. Maybe the kids that can hold dear. That's what we identify with them.
Can I say something? Actually, we do not know our own identity.
Okay.
That's the truth. We are conditioned to create identities. Yes. I'm told I'm supposed to be a mother, so I'm a mother.
Right.
I'm supposed to be a daughter, so I'm a daughter. And now, all of a sudden, I feel I want to be an entrepreneur, so I become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But what am I actually? We still don't know. So till we don't tap into our hidden potential, till we don't start peeling out the petals, we won't be knowing what is inside us actually. And you're right, we always are with a cap. So this is the place where we can at least leave those caps outside and think, what am I and what do I want?
And also, one of the very big reasons,
Yeah, please.
one of the very big reasons of growing up in identity is codependency. Because we are so ruled by the people in our lives. We are someone's daughter, someone's wife, someone's mother. But what are we to ourselves? We are not. And we reach a stage of our lives when actually everything is like gone away from our lives. The children fly away, the parents pass away. And that's the time to actually start digging in. And start looking at really who are you? And that's when we make the right
I love it. Did everyone hear what she just mentioned? It's such a beautiful journey because so the last time I was, and I'll tell you a quick story. My dad's from Delhi. He was born in Patiala and born and raised in Delhi, and my mom's from the Philippines. And I was born in the States. I was born in Chicago. And so 2 years ago, well actually 6 years ago, I was just telling these girls, 6 years ago I was here shopping for the glitz and glamour of this big scale Bollywood wedding that I was going to have, that I actually had in Chicago. And it was a full week. And 2 years ago, I was healing after I left my very abusive, physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive marriage. And now here I am speaking to all of you about what redefining identity looks like. And you mentioned a couple of really key points, which is actually, it's so important because you see the different stages. And you're right, we have the role of identity of what society wants us to be, and then we have a role of what the ideal of motherhood is supposed to be, and then how we actually should be in corporations, how we lead our businesses, and how then we lead our own lives. And of course, there's another talk that I'm actually giving tomorrow around perfection and the perfect daughter. So if any of you want to come to that, it's going to be pretty powerful with similar sentiments. But you're right. When do we actually get to focus on ourselves? And for those of us who come from cultural backgrounds, there's this idea of selfishness. There's this idea of, what do you need? You're serving other people, so in serving others, you serve yourself. But why, honestly, there's such a dichotomy capitalists, hounding on you to turn something around in a short amount of time, a lot of times there's a lot of interpersonal angst, okay? And a lot of times you go into anxiety and you go into then burnout. But there's so much at stake and there's all of this pressure. So in this room, I want to just take away all of the pressure. I want to take away all of, whatever is beyond these walls. This is actually your time. And I want us to all to kind of get to know one another. And so, did you have something to add?
First generation Indian as a mother and as a professional. Yeah. Yeah. The guilt and the shame. How many of you have experienced as women guilt and shame for starting a new venture, starting a new